Hello everyone, welcome to the Value Betting Guide. My name is Gordon Boyce. I'm the creator and racing analyst, professional horse racing bettor for over 20 years of the Value Betting Guide. This is my resource for betting predominantly on horse racing and showing you some of the techniques, tactics, angles and clues that I've used in horse racing betting over the years. Now, everything in my kind of horse racing systems and betting strategies are all based around value, the value betting guide being a clue to that. We look at ratings. I've developed my own bespoke ratings over many years, which I use to help me analyse and read a race. What this video is going to do is going to give you a quick look at how I read and analyse a horse race based on the data that we've got available to you all at the Value Betting Guide. So I'm going to jump straight into that, and then I'll give you a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the site once I've run through a race. So I'm going to click on the race tab, Value Betting Guide race cards, and this brings us up into Sunday's races. And let's have a look at the 2:30 at Lingfield today. The beat the right way handicap chase over 2 miles. So select that race, and we've got the details of the race coming up just now. It's for 4-year-olds plus with 115 handicap limit. It's a class 4 handicap chase, run over 2 miles with a prize fund of £5,281 over fences, and it's currently got 6 runners running in it. So the first thing that you see when you come to the guide is the VB generator. This is where the value is assessed through algorithms and analysis of ratings in the background, and it allows you as the user to have a snapshot of where the value may be. You'll see that every horse in the race is assigned a value score from 5, which represents strong value, 4 good value, 3 and 2 are different versions of neutral, down to 1, which is where I assess the value for that particular horse to be poor. Now the VB generator pulls in the live last price matched Betfair exchange odds, and it inserts them automatically into this field here. So this will refresh every 5 minutes throughout the day, and in the 10 minutes preceding the race, it refreshes every 1 minute. So it really does give you a kind of live assessment of where the odds are at that particular moment in time when you are assessing a race. In this column here, you've got my value betting rating. Now you can't amend that in this field, but it's what's drawn from the analysis of the horses in the race through all the data that I pull from various sources in compiling these ratings. So as we can see here, we can filter these, and we've got 3 horses that are coming up as decent values that we're wanting to have a look at. Jepal Attempts is the clearest value with a rating of 75.7. It comes out with tissue odds of 3.37 using my ratings, and the current exchange odds of 4.7. So you'll see that's quite an uplift in what I'm assessing the odds to be to what's available. This results in the value score being 5. You're getting value in these 2 horses as well, where 4.6, which is round about 72, and you can get 7.2, which is almost 6 to 1, available on the exchange, and likewise 8 to 1 and 11.5 to 1 for Windsor. So I'm going to kind of take a look at these 3 horses in a little bit more detail. The number 5, Jepal Attempts, David Pipe runner. It's a 6-year-old. It's had wing surgery and it wears a tongue tie today. And it's got a decent strike rate. It's 2 wins from 10 in its career history. And it's running with a weight of 11 stone 6 of today's official rating of 106. A couple of things that are standing out to me just now is this jockey for today is a chap called Ryan Corcoran. He's claiming £10. He's not somebody that I've really heard of too much. So at the start of this analysis, I'm going to just take a quick look and see what this guy's all about. So I'm going to my Timeform account. You can look at various different sources for this. Here he is here, Ryan Corcoran. You can see he's had 27 runs, so he's still relatively inexperienced, but at the same time, he's got 4 winners on the board, which I think is quite good. 15% strike rate, so he knows what he's doing. He won in his last race actually for David Pipe. I would imagine that he's attached to the Pipe yard, going by the volume of Pipe runners that he's had there. And he won on a 91 shot last time out, over fences. He's been placed on a 71 shot over hurdles, also placed in another one over fences. So yeah, this guy looks like he's quite capable. Some decent figures there. He's had back-to-back winners, one of them being at 16-1 at the end of last month. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite happy with Ryan as a jockey, and that £10 may prove invaluable in the race that he's taken off the back. So that's just one to stick in the back of my mind. So what you now get in the value betting guide is quite a detailed horse summary that you can see here. What I wanted to do when I was preparing this guide or this resource was to have available to the reader data which can be relied on in the form of the value betting ratings and the value scores and the tissue odds, but I also wanted to give a bit more detail than you would get on your standard newspaper or internet-based race card in terms of the horse summaries, just so that you've got a bit more context on which to base your betting decisions. So looking at the top rated horse in terms of my value scores in any case, I can see that he's had 2 wins on soft ground in November. He's a 6-year-old, as I said before, which the others are 6-year-olds that are contenders as well, are 6 in the main. But it does give you a bit of scope for further improvement over fences. He's had wind surgery in the past. Comments here that he's jumping soundly in previous races, which I always want to see off a young chaser. Travelling strongly as well has been commented as part of his race history. He is stepping up a bit in grade. Class 4, so he's previously run in lower grade races, but his form and his improvement, having won those last 2 races, I would suggest justifies him taking this step up in grade as well. And I do like the fact that he's taken £10 off with this young apprentice. I'll be interested to see how he goes, but it'll take a lot to dissuade me from going for Japil Temps in this race. One of the other comments from the context is that he's returning to 2 miles. I'm okay with that. The racing class is a bit of an issue, but the fact that he's always jumped soundly, travelled strongly, I think it looks to me like he's got what it takes to run over the minimum distance, particularly as a 6-year-old with relative inexperience. I think he's got what it takes to run at this distance over fences at this time. I'm going to take a quick look at Diplomatic Ash, who I'd identified as a contender. And at odds of 6-1 with tissue odds, more importantly, of 72. I think he's certainly one for me to bear in mind. And I may even be persuaded to stick in a little saver as a reverse forecast on those 2, but probably not, because I'm more of a singles player. But those that like those types of bets, I wouldn't put anybody off that. He scores 4, so he's got good value on his side. This is his 2nd run after a wind up, and it's his 1st run in the tongue tie and blinkers combination. Now, I really like 2nd run of wind up as an angle. In fact, it's something that I plan to write on in the future. But in terms of stats and how horses perform after wind surgery, they always kind of save, they tend to save a bit, I should say, on their first run after having their wind tweaked. This is kind of understandable because after surgery, and the reason that a horse is given wind surgery is to kind of make his breathing a bit better. The horse isn't going to know that. You can't tell a horse that that's the purpose of the surgery, but the horse will certainly learn it. And after his first run, after the surgery, he'll notice that his breathing has been a little bit eased and he can move a bit better. And that's why in the second or third runs after wind surgery, you tend to find that the horse has realised what's happened and realised that he's maybe got a little bit more that he can give. So it's just a little thing in the back of my mind that I do like those second run after wind surgeries. Having read through the rest of the horse summary for this, what gives me a little bit of concern about him is whether this sharper trip, shorter trip, is something that's going to suit him. But that being said, he's a solid contender. The headgear changes and the wind surgery are something that I'm going to bear in mind. He's got a decent strike rate and he's from the Gary Moore stable, which is in good form. And Freddie Mitchell is a very capable apprentice jockey as well. So I'll leave it as those two just now. I've kind of settled, having narrowed the field on the number 5 as being my bet for the race. So today in the 2:30 at Lingfield, I'm going to be betting on Chappelle Attempts, the number 5 from the David Pipe Yard. Now, just while I'm on this page, if you were wanting to, and this is particularly handy on bigger fields, if you're wanting to narrow the field and perhaps just look at the horses that are kind of 5 and 4 that are representing good value, you can filter the race cards. You can collapse them so that you're not looking at the extended summaries. And then you can choose which summaries you're wanting to look at, and so on and so forth. So that's me kind of decided on that race. What you can see here is that I'll always keep yesterday's cards up live. So anybody that's wanting to have a review of yesterday's races can go in and have a look at how the ratings were, how the value scores were on the last prices matched before the race, and how that all came out with the results. And you can also look ahead to tomorrow. You'll see here that if I go into the first race tomorrow at Lingfield, I should actually clear them first. If you go into the first race tomorrow at Lingfield, you'll see that the odds, because it's drawn it from Betfair Exchange, they're not really populating yet. There's no money matched, but that will change by tomorrow. But what you can do is you can see the ratings here for tomorrow's races, and we've not yet added the summaries to the horses yet, but later on today those summaries will be available, which is particularly useful for those that like to do their study the evening before racing. Right, before I finish up, I'm just going to take this opportunity to give you a quick tour of the site, and I'll try not to ramble on. If you look at the homepage, you'll see a little bit about the background, a little bit about me, and a little bit about what we're trying to achieve at the Value Betting Guide. This is also where you can sign up. If I wasn't signed in here just now, there would be an option for you to look at what our offers are just now for signing up. If you ever want to get in touch with me, then my email address is in the bottom here, and I'm always available to answer any questions on horse racing. I'm also trying to become a bit more active on social media, so you can drop me a message on Facebook or Instagram or X, which I've not really started using yet, but I do plan to as we move into the new year. The next tab along is the Meet the VBG team. It's me. This has been a bit of a labour of love throughout the 2025 calendar year for me, developing this site, and I've basically put my heart and soul into it, and I'm taking a bit of a stab at making this work and bringing something to horse racing fans that they'll hopefully be able to enjoy. The team round about me that I've built over the course of the year, I've got Tara, who's a superstar, and she does a lot of the admin work that goes on behind the scenes. I've got Shug, who's somebody that I've known for most of my adult life. And Shug is a absolute and total horse nut like myself. He owns horses, he rides horses, his family work in the horse racing industry, and he is, this is him here with Corach Rambler, Scotland's Grand National Hero. Shug's named his garden bar in his back garden, the Corach Rambler, after his favourite horse. And Shug's a great guy, and more importantly, he knows horses inside out, and he's loving sharing his thoughts and views on the sport with you all through the guide. Recently I brought in Ewan Wilson, somebody else that I've known for years. Ewan's an ex-professional footballer, loves his football, loves his other sport, darts and golf, and loves his racing as well, albeit, as he says here, the least said the better about his style of picking horses. However, football's a different story for him. He knows his stuff, and I'm big enough to say that. I don't, but I do like reading Ewan's stuff, and yeah, he is somebody that I'm hoping is going to enjoy working with the guide as well, and sharing his views predominantly on football and football betting. And it's, you wouldn't mind me saying, but it's more of a recreational kind of small stakes Saturday weekend coupon. And as well as the guide being designed for trying to professionalise people's approach to gambling, I think it's important to remember that gambling should always be fun, and that's where I'm hoping that Ewan will certainly come into his own as well and complement the work that me and Shug are bringing in terms of sports betting. Quick mention as well for Stephen Clark. I've known Stephen all my life. Stephen's an IT wizard, an expert. He's a software developer, and he has been my kind of partner in crime in terms of my gambling journey over the last 20 plus years. The two years have worked on many projects, and fortunately been lucky enough to make a good bit of money over the years out of our analytical approaches to gambling. Stephen has got a full-time job elsewhere, and he'll dip in and out of the guide with some views, but that's purely on a kind of recreational basis on his part. But I'm hoping that he's going to provide one or two more articles as the time goes on. The news and views section, you'll see that we've got 3 different parts here. This is open to everybody. We've got racing, affairs and news. I'm going to do a lot more writing as we move into 2026 in this section, and I think Shug may well do as well. Sport and insight and opinions is for other sports, and we'll find Ewan and hopefully one or two others that I'm looking to bring on board into the new year that'll enjoy writing about their approach, their views, their opinions, and their betting insights in terms of sports. But you'll see here that you can click into any of Ewan's articles, and you can read about his points of view, his suggested bets, excuse me, and other sporting matters. The last section in the news and views is the value betting strategy and principles, and that's where I'm kind of writing about insights, methodologies, and my background in terms of betting. So there's quite a lot of articles there. I'm hoping to build that library in terms of my approach to betting and what separates that from other forms that are used. The back catalogue, very briefly, but that's just a historical archive of me and Shug's bets and selections for transparency purposes. Every day there will be a free race. Today is the race that I analysed in this video, the 2:30 at Lingfield, and you can scroll down and you can see this is actually a good example of how the value scores changed throughout the day, because we can see that the value has changed slightly, and we've got Japel Attempts and Diplomatic Ash. So because all these figures changed throughout the day, that amends the tissue odds and the value scores. So it really is a point in time situation. as what is value and what's not value in any particular race. From there on, you've got the members only sections. So you've got, this is my value betting tips for today that are all based on the data. So I'll always be putting up an app, an next best, a long shot. I tend to put up lucky 15s and patents, and sometimes other bets on busier race days as well. So it's all recorded here, and it'll all be transferred to the back catalogue after that race day. Similarly with Shug selections, this is his from yesterday. He's not got anything up today, but Shug tends to contribute 3 or 4 days a week. And yesterday his nap and Posse Qua, the Nicky Henderson horse for JP McManus, romped home with great style in the 225 at Ascot. So yeah, you'll see here that Shug does put a lot of effort, a lot of detail, and a lot of work into his analysis, and he gave a particularly strong word for Impositoire, which was spot on. He's a horse I would follow to war, and if you watch his win from yesterday, he was, like I say, he was absolutely spot on. So that was good to see. Next one, you've got the VBG race cards. We showed you that earlier. This is where the race cards are. The golf section is under construction, so I'll skip that. The VB generator. This is like a quicker look if you're just a data only type of person, which I must admit that I kind of am. So you can click on any race for the day. So let's have a quick look at the 1 o'clock at Lingfield, and you'll see there that you can filter them, sort them, and you get the value scores, tissue odds. So you can see here that the horse Network Gold in that race, according to my figures, is the one that looks like it's good value. I've got it down as a 6.0, which is a 5-1 shot. The market has it at 10-1. So if I was having a bet in that race, which I am, I would have a couple of quid on Network Gold. That is pretty much all. You've got the account section here where it'll tell you your account details if you're a member, and you're able to change your password and things like that. But that, to be honest, is everything, and is a quick overview of the guide. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you can take something from it. If you're interested in horse racing or football betting or betting in general or sports in general, please visit the site. Please feel free to get in touch to have a look. There's lots of free content here, including racing and football. So yeah, please feel free to spread the word, and I thank you for your time. Cheers.